On Black Ops 2 Origins, it's possible to hold 3 staffs. To do this, you have to have 3 upgraded staffs in their pedestals in a crazy place, and then put all of your guns in a Pack-a-Punch machine and let them disappear. Do not pick them back up. Now buy Mule Kick and head to the crazy place. Pick up the first staff and then pull out the Skemet's figure, and then walk up to the second staff and pick it up. At this point, you'll have 2 staffs, so to get your third one, pull out your Skemet's figure again and pick up your third staff. On Shadows of Evil, you can insta-kill the Margwas. When a Margwa's in your map, simply call in the Civil Protector, and as long as a Margwa is somewhat around the circle that's on the ground when the Civil Protector spawns in, he will insta-kill him. On Zetsubo no Shima, you can buy perks for half price. To do this, every player in the game needs to have all of their challenges completed to get lightning to strike the Skull Ritual. Now wait for the lightning to strike, and when it does, pull out your shield to get the lightning on your shield, and then go up to whatever perk you want for half price, and melee with your shield and buy it for half price. Speaking of Zetsubo no Shima, in the room where you shoot the plane out of the sky, there's a secret max ammo in here. Pull out your skull and mesmerize this wall to reveal a max ammo. On 9, it's possible to take no fire damage in your game. To do this, you have to build the acid trap and kill one of each catalyst and a tiger with the acid trap. It doesn't have to be on the same activation or anything, it just has to be in the same game. Once you do, go to the blade trap and slide under it without taking damage, and then return to the acid trap and do the same thing. Slide under it without taking damage, and at this point, the Easter egg is done. If you run into fire, you'll hear this sound. And now at this point, the Easter egg is done. You'll now take no fire damage. With that being said though, there is one downside to this, and that downside is you have to reactivate this on every strip of fire on every single round. So unless you're going for high rounds, this probably isn't worth doing, but it still is a pretty cool Easter egg. On Horizon Drag, there's a glitch to spawn infinite zombies. To do it, it's real simple. Go to the gate trap near double tap and get a horde of zombies up. It doesn't have to be a lot, doesn't have to be a full horde. Even as little as 5 or 6 zombies on round 1 will make this work. Get your zombies and then kill them with the gate trap, and then hang out around the KRM wallby and watch all of your zombies spawn in the map. If you do this with like 5 zombies, it'll spawn around 40. So you can do this to spawn in a few hordes, and when you notice that zombies are getting low again, you can just do this glitch again. Thanks to this glitch, you can even beat Horizon Drag's Easter egg on round 2. On BO2 Origins, when you're filling up the G-Strike tablet, if you shoot a charged staff shot down and then pull out your shield, any zombie that dies to that staff shot will count as a melee kill for your G-Strike. I don't know why this works, but for some reason it does. Unfortunately, this does not work on BO3. And speaking of Origins, if you're on round 8 and you don't have a staff, go buy the Claymores and use them on the Panzer. If you get good hits on him, you can kill the Panzer with just 2 Claymores. But most of the time, it will take a little more damage to kill him, but with just the 2 Claymores, you can take like 85% of his health off. So if you don't have a staff on round 8, this is a must do. In the Zombies in Spaceland boss fight, you can pair a Pack-a-Punch wonder weapon with an infinite ammo drop to pretty much insta-kill the alien. You can complete a whole phase of him and get a fuse from his backpack in around 5 seconds. This is absolutely insane, but unfortunately, you can't do this with an unpack-a-punch pistol, so this only works in Director's Cut. On Mob of the Dead, you can buy doors for free. This is real simple to do, but to do it, you need to have a charge of Afterlife ready. Now go up to whatever door you want to buy and cook a grenade. The grenade will tick 3 times before it blows up. After the 3rd tick, you want to jump and spam your interact button to buy the door. If done right, the game will glitch out and buy the door for you after you go down. On the Chaos maps on BO4, there's a fast fire trick you can do with the Scepter of Ra. It's real easy to do this. Just pull out your scepter and mash both your ADS button and your shoot button, and if done right, you will melee this thing insanely fast. This isn't just a visual glitch either. If you go use this on a boss like the Giganese or the Blightfather, then you'll see just how good this is. But with as good as it is, it does come with one downside, and that is, unfortunately, you cannot use this when the scepter is level 3. So if you use this in your game, you should only be using this on the bosses that are pretty hard to kill. You shouldn't just use this like a normal specialist. On the ether side of things, the Pathosaurus has a really nice trick too. If you jump and use a dash attack in midair, then your character will do the dash attack, but you will have full control of your character. This is perfect for escort steps like the Warden step, but it's even great for casual moment-to-moment gameplay. And the best part, there's no downside to doing this. But like I said, this is really helpful on the Warden challenge where you gotta escort the ghost. And thankfully, I have another tip to help you with this step. If you run the classic elixir Now You See Me and pop it on this step, all the zombies will run away from both you and and the ghost. On solo, the best time to pop it is right here, but if you're in a co-op game, you can have everyone run this and pop this one at a time to basically make this step free. On Horizon Track, you can activate the rocket test whenever you want. As long as it's been 2 minutes since the rocket test last went off, the next time a power-up spawns on the map, the rocket test will activate. This goes for nukes, insta-kills, and even Widow's wine grenade drops. In Attack of the Radioactive Things boss fight, it's possible to skip the lasers in a boss fight. When the Krog moves the gas all the way up to the back of the boss fight arena, he will fire 2 waves of Krog pods. As soon as he shoots a second wave of Krog pods, pop the fate card Mana Up and run to the bomb. Without Mana Up, you would die pretty fast doing this, but Mana Up will keep you safe the entire way, and you can just camp near the bomb, and as soon as he does form the lasers, you can go in the bomb to input your code. On Mob of the Dead, you can do some skips to grab 2 of the skulls for the blunder gap. So first off, in the room where you grab the retriever, if you aim your crosshair exactly where I do, you can throw it to grab the skull outside of spawn, and additionally, if you go outside the cafeteria and line up the right bit of your crosshair with this afterlife symbol and look straight up, you can throw your house retriever here to grab the skull on the roof. The Atlas step on Dead of the Night can be a real pain for some, but did you know that there's only 6 possible combinations that you can get? Right here is all 6 of them shown on the screen right now. Feel free to screenshot this for the next time you play Dead of the Night. On Shadows of Evil, it's possible to get the sword without ever riding the tram. I feel like this is a pretty well-known thing nowadays, but regardless, it still is useful information, so here it is. We're gonna start with the footlight one because that one is easily the hardest one to get. Aim at this hook and go in beast mode, and then grapple onto the hook. And as soon as you click the button to grapple, you wanna look straight ahead and run forward. As far as I know, there is no way to get this every single time, but eventually you'll hit it just right to where your grapple will send you a little bit above this building. When you are above this building, you wanna melee to lunge forward a little bit, and that should put you on top of the building. Now that's the hardest part about getting footlights, but to finish getting it, jump up here so you're fully on top of the building, and then jump across to the second building, and then once you get close to the edge here, you can actually see the room that the symbol is in. So if you just line yourself up with it, you can just drop down to see the symbol. To get the waterfront one, you want to grapple up to where you would knock the championship belt over, and then from here you want to strafe jump on top of this roof. Once you're on the roof, walk alongside the edge of it to get around this invisible barrier, and once you're up here, jump to see the symbol. Now finally, the symbol at canals. This one is definitely the easiest one to get. Just run up near the Kuda Walleye and look at the symbol and jump. For most of the symbols, you can see it just by jumping, but there are 2 symbols that you could get confused, so if you put all 3 symbols in and it doesn't work, then double check canals. But sticking with the sword on Shadows, there's a way to manipulate the spawns to get the kills for your egg done insanely fast. For this to work, there have to be zombies in a map that have spawned, and then you run away from them and look at these exact spots I tell you to have all the zombies in the map respawn exactly where you're looking. So to manipulate the spawns in the rift, you want to look right here where I am. For canals, you want to look right here at this door. For waterfront, you want to look right here through this zombie spawn. And for footlights, you want to look right here. The scepter lockdown on Ancient Evil can be a real pain, but there is a way to cheese it every single time. Start the lockdown, and when Spartoi spawn to try and fail the step, let them fail the step. Do not kill the Spartoi. You want to take these Spartoi and walk them all the way back up to Hemera's shrine, and pick back up Hemera's hand and walk them back all the way down to Ra's statue. When you get to around right here, hurry and run and place the hand on Ra and run back out of this room as quickly as you can. And if you're quick enough, the Spartoi should still be going after you, so at this point you can just train these Spartoi around the map for the next minute until you beat the step. On Alpha Omega, you can teleport to Red Nova Crawler. Before you start this step, place one of the teleporter pads in between houses D and F, and once you start this step, take the Red Nova Crawler to the nearest teleporter pad, whether it be in the generators, the beds, or the diner. Take him to the nearest one, and when he's standing directly on top of the teleporter, place down a teleporter pad to teleport him right behind House D. Beast from Beyond has a really annoying boss fight, with a lot of really unfair ways to go down, but with that being said, if you have any of the guns on the screen right now, put them on because all of these guns have a perk called Ninja, and what this perk does is, when you fully empty your magazine, all zombies will ignore you for 5 seconds. If you combine this with the fact that there's an ammo crate in Beast from Beyond's boss fight, you can absolutely abuse this Ninja perk to hide from all of the cryptids while you're waiting for the terminals to turn on, and while you're waiting for the 100-second timer to tick all the way down, which takes 2 minutes, but you don't have to kill a single cryptid to complete this. Just whatever you do, for the love of God, do not reload your gun manually. You will die. But sticking with Beast from Beyond's boss fight, you can pair the EBR Bomber with the Eco Chip Fortune card to kill the blue rhinos really fast. If you're really good, you can insta-kill them before they even pop out of this crate, but if you don't and they do come out and they charge at you, that's okay, just run away from them and shoot them a little more and they'll die in no time. On both versions of Origins, it is possible to skip the Ascent from Darkness step, the step where you have to place all the staffs into robots. You can completely skip that step. On BO2, it's real simple. When you're on this step, grab your fire staff and head down to the bottom of the excavation site. When you're here, place your fire staff in the pedestal, and then pick it back up from your fire staff pedestal and place it back in the Easter egg pedestal. Then pick up your fire staff back from the fire staff pedestal and place it in the Easter egg pedestal for a third time, and then pick up the fire staff again and place it in the Easter egg pedestal a fourth time to beat this step. It's nice and easy on BO2, but on BO3, it is a lot more complicated. Before you even worry about doing this, first, you have to make sure you're spawning in with self-medication. This is the only way to do it on BO3. And then also, make sure your fire staff is your mule kick gun. If you don't know for sure which gun is your mule kick gun, get rid of your staff for a red gun and leave 2 of your guns in a pack-a-punch machine so you only have 1. Then buy a new gun off the wall and then go grab the fire staff. This will ensure that it's your mule kick gun. When you know for sure your staff is your mule kick gun, head to the crazy place because first you gotta get 2 staffs. And just to make this next part easier, do this near the Vesper Walleye with the wind staff. You can do this with any staff if you want, but it'll be easier for you to follow if you do it with the same staff I do. Also, I'm going to be pausing this gameplay a lot to explain how to do this next step because it might be a little confusing. Now at this point, to get 2 staffs, you want to, number 1, down yourself. Step 2, immediately revive yourself with self-medication by killing a zombie with your ray gun. Step 3, immediately buy a wall gun off the wall. In this example, it's the Vesper. So immediately buy the Vesper off the wall. Step 4, run to another staff as quickly as possible and trade out any gun besides the one you just bought off the wall to pick up the staff. And then step 5, pull back out your Vesper and just wait. If you did everything correctly, then in around 3 to 5 seconds, Treyarch will magically put the fire staff back in your hands. And when it pulls out the fire staff, you can now swap your guns and you'll see that you have 2 staffs. Also, thanks to doing this, there's a second fire staff in the bottom of the excavation site, and we will be using it to do the fire staff skip, which that's what we're covering right now. So go to the bottom of the excavation site and get ready to do this. We're going to do something similar to what we just did, but there will be a few tweaks in the steps. So step 1, let the zombies kill you. Step 2, revive yourself with the ray gun with self-medication. Step 3, immediately run to the Easter egg pedestal and place down the fire staff. You don't have to swap to it, just run up to it and hold your interact button. Step 4, pull out your other staff and interact with the fire staff pedestal to swap out your other staff for another fire staff. And step 5, place a second fire staff from the pedestal and pick back up your other staff, whichever one it was, ice, lightning, wind, pick up whatever staff you had. If you did everything right, then Treyarch will give you another fire staff back and you'll now have 2 staffs again. At this point, we have 2 fire staffs placed and we need to place 2 more. So we're going to do this one more time, but thankfully, it's a lot simpler this time. Step 1, let the zombies down you. Step 2, revive yourself with self-medication. Step 3, immediately place your 3rd fire staff in the pedestal. And step 4, wait for Treyarch to give you another fire staff and place it in the pedestal. If you did everything that I just listed correctly, then you just placed all 4 fire staffs, successfully bypassing the Ascent from Darkness step. On Alpha, Omega, and Tagged or Toten, there's an Easter egg to automatically jump to round 200. I'm going to highlight Tag though for one specific reason, and I'll tell you that later, but first, to do this Easter egg, you have to freeze yourself in every body of water in the map. Here's a list of all 10 locations you have to freeze in, and once you do, there will be a button in spawn. Get set up, and once you're ready, activate it to start the Easter egg. Now when you do this Easter egg on either Tagged or Toten or Alpha Omega, the game will trap you in a specific area, but in Tagged or Toten, we can get out of this area. So the game will trap you in the spawn room, but if you walk up to the wall right here and crouch walk, you can actually walk through this hole in the wall. Now be careful out here because you will occasionally hit death barriers, but as long as you're hanging out right here in this back strip, the zombies will still go after you, and you have full free roam of the map. Now, with me saying this, you're probably wondering why I'm including this as useful information, and that's because on Black Ops 4, there are different difficulties you can play on: casual, normal, hardcore, and realistic. And in the hardcore difficulty, much like there are in BO1, there is something called insta-kill rounds, where once you get to the really high rounds, occasionally you will get a round where every single zombie in the round is a one-shot kill. Like I said, Black Ops 4 has this, and it just so happens that on hardcore difficulty, both rounds 200 and 201 are insta-kill rounds. So if you do this Easter egg on hardcore difficulty, you can get whatever guns you need to camo grind and hang out back here with Deadshot Dealer and rack up headshots super fast. The only downside to this is, this Easter egg is called the Don't Freeze Easter egg. So naturally, it's in the name, you have to stay on the run at all times to not freeze. But with that being said, I mean, the zombies are super sprinters at this point. Does it really matter that you can't camp with super sprinting zombies? No. I don't think so. On Horizon Drag, you can one-shot the Keeper boss fight. I put this in my useless information series too, but technically it is useful information. The reason I put it in my useless info was because to do this, you have to be on round 100 plus. So you have to get to at least round 100 and go in with the XM53 to do this. But if you have both those boxes checked, load in the boss fight and pull out your XM53 and one-shot the Keeper. On Cold War Zombies, if you throw a Casimir portal while your Ring of Fire is active, it'll recharge your Ring of Fire while your Ring of Fire is still active. This is helpful all throughout the game, but by far, where this helps the most in is the Valentina fight. And speaking of Mauer, protecting Klaus to upgrade him can be a real pain sometimes, but if you use the Arc XD score streak and park the front right in front of Klaus, it'll kill all the zombies that come near it for 30 seconds. So on solo, use this to bypass half the timer, and in co-op, have 2 people grab this to make this completely free. On Revelations, you can duplicate the eggs. Unfortunately, this only works in co-op, but if you are in co-op, make sure you do this because it'll save you a ton of time. First, have one player in your game find one egg, and then have everyone go to the apothecan's stomach. Have the player that has the egg walk up to where you place them, and then whoever doesn't have an egg needs to go up to where you place the eggs and hold the interact button. This will allow the player that doesn't have an egg to place that egg down. So you can do this to place all 4 eggs by only finding one. In Blood of the Dead, when you're doing the bird step, to spawn in the 4th bird, you normally have to go get a zombie blood, but instead of doing that, you can go behind a nearby wall and pop in plain sight to spawn the bird in. Like I said, you have to be behind a nearby wall. It won't work if you're looking right at him, but as long as you pop it behind a wall, run to him and look at him through your shield to spawn in the book. From here, you can do this step as normal. And speaking of Blood of the Dead, there's a way to manipulate the spawns in the boss fight. When the boss fight starts, come stand exactly where I am, and as soon as you hear a dog spawn, follow the path I'm taking and the warden will spawn right here. If you have the sweeper, shoot him twice in the head to insta-kill him. Then run diagonally across the boss fight and the warden will spawn over here. Shoot him twice in the head with the sweeper to take him out, and then run back to the stand where the first warden was and rinse and repeat. You can use this to kill the 4 wardens in phase 1 and the 8 in phase 2. And finally, on Infinite Warfare Zombies, did you know that it's possible to use an exosuit? This unfortunately only works on zombies in Spaceland. And before I even tell you how to do this, I'm just going to tell you that this is pretty hard to do. Before you load in, make sure you have the Skull Hacker Fortune card in your deck. When you're in the game, before we start this glitch, we got to do a few things. First, put 2,000 points in the bank. Number 2, get 500 tickets and buy the cryo grenades. And number 3, look around the map where you can buy the arcane cores and look for a transponder and a rewind grenade. Don't buy either one yet. Just look for where they are. It is imperative that you find both of these before you do this next step. Also, before you do this next step, make sure you have both entrances to the arcade bot and both doors to the fountain bot. Once you find both, pop Skull Hacker and get ready for this next step because the timing can be tricky. Go to where the rewind grenade is and buy it, and as soon as you buy it, you want to push and hold the button to pull out your cryo grenade. You want to click both buttons within a second to do this. This is a pretty tricky thing to pull off timing wise, and if you do mess it up, then as far as I know, you will have to reset your game because you cannot get another rewind grenade to spawn in. But if I'm wrong about this and there is another way to get a rewind grenade in the match without restarting, then comment down below. But if you do hit this timing, you'll know if you hit it right if you hear the sound that you bought something, but your rewind tactical grenade isn't on your HUD in the bottom right. So from here, you want to walk all the way back to the arcade without letting go of the cryo grenade. If you let go of the cryo grenade, then it'll mess up this glitch. Once you're in the arcade, walk up to the Ghosts and Skulls machine and go inside it. Once you're inside the Ghosts and Skulls machine, click your left bumper to use your rewind grenade. And once you're out of the machine, you can let go of your cryo grenade. But also at this point, you have to be extremely quick. And I mean extremely quick. quick. There is no room for error in this next step because you only have about a minute, maybe a minute and a half max to do this next part. You have to, number 1, withdraw your 2,000 points from the bank. Number 2, run and buy Up and Adams as quickly as possible. Number 3, run to where your transponder was in your game and buy it. And number 4, run to the fountains near Bang Bangs and line up your crosshairs exactly how I do and throw the transponder. If it disappears like this, then that means you didn't line it up right, so just throw it again. If you threw it out the map and it doesn't disappear, double tap your tactical button to teleport to your transponder. Now at this point, if you've got up to this point, then you will hit this glitch. There's just one more step to do, but it's a really easy step. Wait right here where I do until the game says you failed. As soon as it does say you failed, run in the water and you'll hit a death barrier and respawn at the arcade. And when you respawn at the arcade, you will now have the exosuit. Now this is an amazing thing, and you can pretty much explore wherever you want to without any problems, but I have noticed a few things doing this. Even if you're playing Director's Cut and the game says you have perks on your screen, you do not have perks. You are 3 hit down, and if you go down, it is game over. And also, if you go through a teleporter, whether it be one of the teleporters that teleport you to the hub, or the teleporter that teleport you to Pack-a-Punch, the game will take away your exosuit. And finally, this goes without saying, but don't do the Ghost and Skulls machine again. Seriously. Don't. Besides those 3 things though, you can pretty much do whatever you want to with this exosuit, which includes the Easter egg. I was having a lot of fun flying around the map in the boss fight, and you can even get on top of where the alien goes to, so you can even fight him on an even playing field. On Horizon Track, it's possible to duplicate your bow so that 2 people, or I guess as many people in your game, can all have the same bow. To do this, it's real simple. First, build the bow you want to duplicate, and then get the bow in your mule kick slot. If you don't know how to do this, place your bow back down in the low gravity room, and then leave a gun in the Pack-a-Punch. Do not pick it back up. At this point, you should have 1 weapon. Now go buy a wall gun off the wall so you have 2 weapons, and then go pick back up your bow. This will ensure that it's your mule kick gun. Once it's your mule kick gun, grab near-death experience, and go down. At this point, have your friend revive you, and once you're revived, you'll see that there's a second bow in the low gravity room just waiting for your friend to pick up. Once he does, congratulations, you now have 2 of the same bow. If you want to do this again for a 3rd or 4th player, then every player that has this bow needs to go down and revive themselves with the near-death experience. Now this bow duplication is cool and all, but believe it or not, you can also duplicate the staffs on Origins. And this one is arguably easier. To do this one, fully upgrade whatever staff you want to duplicate, and then trade out the staff for a wall weapon so it teleports to the bottom of the excavation site. And once it's down here, have everyone in your game that wants this same staff to go down to the excavation site in front of the staff. From here, you want to count down to your friends. 3, 2, 1, grab. And then once you say grab, everyone should hold the interact button to pick up the staff. And if you do it at the same time, then multiple people in your game will have the same staff. On Buried, you can combine the PhD Flopper perma-perk with the Sniper perma-perk. So at any time in your game, if you dolphin dive with a sniper in your hands, any zombie that dies from that dolphin dive will give you 300 points, just like they do with the snipers. There's a trick you can do in 9 to make the wonder weapon, the Death of Orion, so much better than it actually is. If you hold your reload button while you spam your shoot button, then you can spam single fire shots of this thing to take out any heavy enemy really fast. This might not seem like too big a difference on paper, but if you use this trick on like a Blightfather or a Gladiator, then you'll be able to see just how much a difference this trick will make. This trick is great for taking out Blightfathers easily, but you can also use this trick to insta-kill the elephants in the boss fight. Yes, you heard me right. You can one-shot kill the elephants in the boss fight. To do it, you'll need the Death of Orion, your shield with ammo in it, and you'll also need at least 1, but preferably 2, insta-kills. Once you're in the boss fight, you just want to play the fight as normal until tigers start spawning. When you first see tigers spawning from the gate, it's time to get ready for the elephant. The tigers means he's about 20 to 25 seconds away. So wait around 25 seconds after you first start seeing tigers, and then pop your insta-kill. When he spawns in, grab the insta-kill as soon as he breaks his pyre and stomps his feet on the ground. As soon as he stomps his feet on the ground, you want to get real close to him, get a charged wonder weapon shot ready, and count to 7. Now you want to be careful with this because you only have 1 chance to do this or else you'll mess it up. I said to count to 7 because that's around when you'll shoot, but the exact cue that you're looking for is when he stomps his front right foot or his left foot from your angle. When he stomps his foot for a 3rd time after he breaks the pyre with both feet. As soon as he plants his right foot for a 3rd time, you want to shoot a charged wonder weapon shot at the gem in his chest, and then immediately pull out your shield and shoot him 1 time in his chest again, and if you did it right, the elephant will fall over and die before he can even move. For the second elephant, you can pretty much insta-kill him too, and it's actually easier to do than the first one. You will need another insta-kill to do this, and also you will need the aforementioned fast fire trick for the wonder weapon. Camp near the gate and wait for the elephant to come out, and once he does, grab the insta-kill and you just want to spam single fire shots at the gem on the elephant's belly until it yelps, and then after it does, pull out your shield and spray it in the head until it falls over, and with that, congratulations! You just took out 2 elephants without them even being able to move. And here I thought this boss fight was already too easy. In the last episode of Useful Information, I went over the Scepter of Ra trick in BO4, where, if you don't know, if you spam both triggers while your scepter is level 1 or level 2, then you'll be able to wipe out a Blight Father or a werewolf insanely fast. But turns out, there's a way to make this even more effective against bosses that I didn't even know about. Credit to Al in the last video. Sorry, I don't know how to say her name. But they let me know in the comments that if you hold your melee button and then spam both triggers, this will make this attack even better. And I tried this out in the game, and sure enough, it somehow does make this thing even stronger. And speaking of the Scepter of Ra, if you're playing a co-op game of Ancient Evil, you can use the Scepter to get the Eternal Flame lit in just one challenge. To do this, you have to have some pretty good luck, but technically it is possible. The first challenge you have to get is the Take Damage and Recover Health challenge. And once you get it, have you and all your friends activate a trap and then stand in it and shoot each other with the Scepter of Ra to keep healing each other. Everyone in your game can get an epic reward with just one trap activation, so from here you can accept your reward and do this again. Chances are you'll get a specialist drop from the epic rewards anyways, and if you don't for some reason, just pop an elixir. On Infinite Warfare Zombies, if you put the VMC attachment on pretty much any LMG, but specifically the Mauler, it'll make your LMG stronger than it was before. I don't know why this works, and as far as I can tell, this attachment only makes the LMGs more effective and not any other class, so this almost has to be a glitch of some kind, but how do you even make this sort of glitch? On Zetsubo no Shima, it's possible to get a golden bucket that you never have to refill with water ever again in your game. Before I even go over this, I will say that this is kinda tedious to do, but at the same time, if you're going for a high round attempt or something, where you need to keep making max ammo plants or imprint plants, then this is definitely the side Easter egg for you. So step 1 for this is growing 5 different types of plants. You need to grow 1 plant with 3 rounds of purple water, another plant with 3 rounds of blue water, a 3rd plant with 3 rounds of green water, a 4th plant with 1 round of all 3 types of waters to make a fruit plant, and a 5th and final plant with no water. Just place a seed down and wait for it to grow. Once you've grown all 5 of these plants, get to Skull of Nansapwe and mesmerize this poster near the purple water, and then go up to the elevator and mesmerize this too to start the main Easter egg. For some reason, you can't proceed with the side quest without doing these 2 things first. But once you do, now go into Lab B and mesmerize this branch. Doing so will reveal a secret spot that you can place a seed. So go ahead and place it, and at this point, 3 more dirt mounds right around this one will raise out of the ground, and you need to place a seed in all 3 of these areas for the next step. You don't have to water these seeds, just place all 3 down and they'll grow. Once the plants grow, they'll grow into purple plants, and they'll attract the zombies and start eating them. At this point, just let the plants eat the zombies, and after around 50 or so zombies eaten, the plants will go away and you will hear this sound. Now finally, return to the first plant you placed under Lab B and interact with this plant to harvest it to get the golden bucket. That's not actually golden. Oxymoronic name aside, with the golden bucket you can press both sticks on your controller, or if you're on keyboard or mouse, click melee and sprint at the same time to cycle between all 3 waters. And with this golden bucket, you can go water whatever plant you want and your water will never deplete. Unfortunately, the rainbow water is not in this cycle for the golden bucket, but with that being said, you can just go grab the rainbow water from the tube, and as long as you don't cycle it again, then you can also use the rainbow water infinitely too. On Shadows of Evil, if you get the Apothecon sword, the unupgraded one, if you get this sword and hold your slam button and spam your swing button, you can do a glitch to slam this sword down insanely fast. And surprisingly, despite what it looks like, this is not a visual glitch. This is what the majority of high rounders use today to get to the high rounds faster than normal. On Transit, you can actually do Max's side of the Easter egg with 0 kills. And if you want to go see me do it, I made a video on it about a year ago. Right here on the screen right now, go watch it. But the reason this works is because Max's side of Transit's Easter egg doesn't require you to kill any zombies, and to get the Avogadro to spawn in, you can just abuse BO2's respawn mechanic, or should I say despawn mechanic, to flip rounds without killing zombies. So Max's side of Transit's Easter egg is possible with 0 kills, but fun fact, Richtofen's side of Die Rise's Easter egg and Max's side of Buried's Easter egg are also possible to complete with 0 kills. If you guys would like to see me do these 2 for a video, let me know down below in the comments and I'll get it done, I promise. And also, I will say, finishing off the 0 kill part of this video, it's also possible to beat Zetsubo no Shima with 0 kills, but to do this one, you have to have the perfect luck. And I'm not exaggerating, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. You literally need perfect luck to do this. As far as I know, there's only been one person to ever beat this Easter egg with 0 kills, and that is Codename Pizza. He made a really great video about it a while back, and I'm kind of tempted to try it myself. Maybe I will. I don't know. On the final step of Outbreak's Easter egg, Exo Zombies Outbreak that is, you have to collect 50 key cards, and it's about a 50-50 chance that a zombie will drop a key card when you kill him with a weapon. But if you melee kill them, then the zombie will drop a key card 100% of the time. On transit, if you jump through the teleporter while holding the jet gun, it'll put the ammo count for the jet gun on your HUD. I put this in my useless information series because unless you're a high rounder on transit, why are you using the jet gun? But if you are a high rounder on transit, this trick is for you. If you run Death Perception and the modifier for Voyage's boss fight, then you can do a trick to beat the final phase of this boss fight quicker than normal. If you shoot the Eye of Odin twice with your Kraken and then spam your Hellion at it, then you can get him to do his wipeout attack after shooting him twice. Normally, to get him to do the wipeout attack, you have to shoot him 3 times, but for some reason, doing it exactly how I said will completely skip the 3rd time you have to shoot him, and in turn will save you more than enough homunculus to beat this Easter egg. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video so far. Since you're enjoying it so much, you watched 30 minutes of it, can I ask that you drop a like, please?
Please?
Alright, thank you. Now let's get back to the video. On Garage Kroby, if you beat the Easter egg in under 115 minutes, then after you beat it, you will have a permanent perkaholic for the rest of the game. Now when you get revived, you'll have 8 perks again, and it might not seem like you can buy Quick Revive, but sure enough, you can just walk up to the machine and buy it again. And then after Quick Revive goes away, thankfully, that's not game over. You can just keep getting Quick Revive back from the Wonder Fizz. And sticking with Garage Kroby, here's a few tricks to make the Easter egg easier so you can actually achieve this. Let's start first with the step where you have to escort Nemo across the map. First off, the Idolized Gobblegum is god tier on this map, and it helps with almost every single step in this Easter egg, including this one. So you can just pop 2 activations of this to make this step completely free, but also, once the Valkyrie drone gets on the steps near Dragon Command, then you can kill him with either the trap or your shield, and the step will actually finish and not fail. I don't know why you can kill him to beat this step slightly faster, but regardless, you can. And I have one more Idolized tip for you. It makes the Nikolai fight look like a total joke. With Idolized, this boss fight is legitimately easier than Zetsubo's or Shadow's boss fight, so if you can't beat this boss fight, use this Gobblegum and thank me in the comments. On Beer 3 Moon, the Moon Man will always spawn in the spawn room, so it's a little tricky to figure out where he'll be in the map and anticipate when he'll show up. To counter this, throw trip mines on the ground outside of your training spot. Now as long as zombies don't spawn on the other side of here and travel through and make the trip mines go off, then they'll just sit here until the Moon Man shows up, and once you hear them go off this way, you know that he's right around the corner, so you can kill him with your dead wire really easily to take him out so he doesn't steal your jug. On Dreisendracht, it's possible to get an infinite Ragnarok DG4. And this is pretty insane because this is literally the easiest glitch that you will ever do in your life. To do what you need the Ragnaroks, obviously. And then you also either need a range offs or a fatal contraption to spawn in the death machine. Once you're ready to do this, leave all your weapons in the pack-a-punch machine so you're holding nothing, and then pop your death machine drop and pick it up, and then once you have the death machine in your hands, pull out the Ragnaroks, and from here, you just want to wait until the timer goes down. Once it's in the red and has like 5% left, you want to cook and hold a grenade until the timer goes away. And once the timer goes away, you can throw a grenade, and if you did it right, you will now have infinite Ragnarok DG4s that you can slam whenever you want, and you can spam the other trigger at your favorite camping spot to AFK for some easy high rounds. And speaking of brainless AFKing, in Infinite Warfare Zombies, if you have the DCM8 Masochist with the Smart Shot sight and camp right here on Beast from Beyond with the power off, you can literally just AFK here for the first 20 to 25 rounds until you get overran. The reason this works is because the DCM8 Masochist has literal infinite ammo, but the trade-off is that every time you shoot it, you will take 1 tick of damage, but thankfully, this thing cannot kill you. It'll just leave you 1 shot. So don't let a cryptid hit you or else you will die, but with that being said, if you have the Smart Shot on this thing, then they shouldn't be able to kill you until you get to around round 20, round 25 or so. On Revelations, you can get all 5 rocks for the Apothecon Servant in the spawn room. This is only helpful if you're going for a high round spawn room challenge, but it is worth knowing about, just in case. For the one near Dreisendracht and the 2 near Verrucht and the 1 near Mob, you won't be able to see the black hole in the rock, you'll just have to stare at the rock for a couple seconds until it potentially disappears. If you stare at it for like 10 seconds or so after you shoot it and it doesn't disappear, then it's safe to assume that you missed it, but eventually, you will hit it, so then you can go focus on the other 4. And once you hit all 5, you can trade out the Apothecon for a wall gun, and this This next part will take some luck, but it is doable. You'll need to pop immolation to get your fire sales and then get crate power on your next gobblegum hit and hopefully pull the apothecant back from the box to get it pack-a-punched. On Zombies in Spaceland, if you do the skee ball machine and back away from the machine before you throw your third and final ball, then the machine will glitch out for some reason and give you triple the amount of tickets that you normally would have gotten. So for example, if I throw 2 balls in the 50 slot and then back away before I throw the third one, it normally would have given me 100 tickets, but for some reason, it'll glitch out and give me 300 tickets. This is by far the most efficient way to rack up tickets on this map. On Shadows of Evil, if you have the upgraded sword, you can do a really simple trick to get to Xenomatter as early as round 12. This won't work before round 12 because round 11 is the latest round that your first meatball round can be on. But once you are on round 12, go grab the flag to start the flag step, but instead of placing it and doing the step as normal, you can go camp at your favorite camping spot and kill the meatballs. My favorite spots to hold out for this is either near Quick Revive right here or on this drop off outside of Nero's room. Just camp here for a bit and after around 2 to 3 minutes of meatball killing, one of them will drop your Xenomatter. But even if you don't need this trick, there's another really helpful trick on the flag step that, funnily enough, also has absolutely nothing to do with the step itself. If you're in a co-op game and you need to take a quick break, grab the flag to start this step, but instead of placing it, go to the drop off outside Nero's room and stand either right here up against this beam on the guardrail or in this corner right here, and all the enemies in the map will stop spawning until you move out of this area. If you're in co-op, then everyone in your game will have to stand in these areas to stop enemies from spawning, but regardless, when you're ready to play again, just move out of this area. Simple as that. What's insane about this glitch though is that both this and the Xenomatter trick that I just showed you have been in this game since release. Literally, there's a video from Glitchin' Queen from 2015 showing these tricks off, and somehow they still work. On Tagged or Toten, there is a way to skip a lot of boring and unnecessary dialogue in this Easter egg. To do what you need Dying Wish, and once you have it, go to the Apothecant Blood and just stand near it until your character makes a remark about it for the first time in the game. Wait for him to stop talking, and once he shuts up and no one else in the game is talking, not Richtofen, not the Hermit, nobody, interact with the Apothecant Blood to go into Dying Wish. For some reason, this will cancel all the dialogue from everyone in the map, including the Hermit, your character, and the Apothecon Blood. So from here, you can have fun with your quote skips, including starting challenges.
Hey, amigo, it's me, from the lighthouse. I set up some challenges to help me decide how much I can trust you, and no offense. Believe me, you will be rewarded for your efforts. I know you can handle this.
When you go to Hermit to pick up the dials,
Amigo, I will get right to it. You need the adjustment device. I know how to complete it. Tell me, and I will make you have the device. Once I am ready. Take these. They can help you communicate with otherworldly entities. I have faith to it.
and the Apothecon Blood's ridiculously long dialogue before he gives you the offering locations. Now this is a pretty cool glitch, but with that being said, there are two things you have to keep in mind when you do this glitch. Number one, you can't have more than one power switch on in your game. This is because when there's two or more power switches on, that'll make Nikolai start talking, and for some reason, once Nikolai starts talking in the map, this glitch will not work. So keep in mind that, and secondly, never swim through this tunnel. Doing so will revert this for whatever reason, but with that being said, this quote skip is only helpful until the Apothecon Blood starts telling you the offering location, so once you're at that point, you can swim through here to hear your character start talking again to continue the Easter egg as normal. On Alpha Omega, there's also a way to skip quotes in this Easter egg, but thankfully, it's a lot easier. You can't do this until after you complete Core Value 3, which is the step where you gotta give him the 3 codes hidden by the paintings. Once you're off this step, you can return to the server near the power switch and interact with it to start it again, and once the green dots on the server tick all the way down, then it'll automatically finish whatever quote is currently going off in your game. So like I did for Tag, I'm gonna show you an example real quick. So this is an example of a quote skip after Core Value 4.
As long as we are prepared, humanity will have a future. By now, you may have encountered our ADAM units, artificial humanoids all around the facility. One of them in the interrogation area has a human life force trap.
I don't even
It
understand
happened
this
during
one,
the
but I'll
incident
still
that
get it
shut
done.
down this facility. Don't ask me to explain. That life force belongs to someone very important to humanity's future. But you must repair the unit to free him. The spirit is 76.
I don't even understand this one.
And sticking with Alpha Omega, if you do this Easter egg on realistic, you can beat this boss fight in half the time that you can on normal difficulty. This is because for some reason, on realistic difficulty, the zombies spawn in a lot faster in the boss fight, and it also makes it so much more fun doing this boss fight this way. Here's my hot take for this video. Wait, that's the wrong series. Screw it, we'll put it in regardless. Alpha Omega's boss fight, specifically on realistic, not normal or hardcore, but specifically on realistic, is one of the best boss fights in Zombies history. Just gonna say it. On BO3 Moon, it's possible to do a round skip to where to get to round 100, you'll only need to play through 50 of those rounds, and those 50 rounds that you do have to play through are a lot quicker than they normally would be. So to start, get down to the last zombie in your round and go to the teleporter. You want to kill the last zombie and immediately jump in the teleporter. Once you teleport to Area 51, you just want to hold out here until the teleporter opens back up and you can teleport back to the moon. Once you do teleport back to the moon, get a horde of zombies and you'll see that there's only like 25 to 30 zombies in the round, period. Not in the horde, but in the round. And once you kill these zombies, instead of it going to the next round, it'll skip that round and go to the round after that. So for example, in this game, I'm on round 66 with one zombie left. So I kill him and jump on the teleporter and then teleport back. Once I teleport back, I'll be on round 67 with around 25 to 30 zombies in the map. And once I kill these zombies, the round will skip round 68 and put me on round 69. Nice. From here, you can just play as normal until the teleporter opens back up, and then you can just do this again. And to finish off the video, we're gonna go over a few pretty helpful tricks on Revelations. So first off, it's possible to duplicate any weapon in this map, including the Apothicon Servant, and you do this pretty much the same way you did the bow dupe at the very beginning of this video. You wanna get the Apothicon Servant or the Thunder Gun, you wanna get that as your mule kick gun, and grab near-death experience. Once you have both these boxes checked, down yourself, and once you're downed, the other player needs to go hit the box until they get the weapon from the box that you're trying to duplicate. Now, this is a little RNG dependent, and they might not get it before you bleed out, so if they haven't got it yet and you have like a quarter of your bleed out time left, have your friend res you and try it again. It shouldn't take too long though until you're down with the wonder weapon, and then your friend pulls it from the box and reses you, and you will now have 2 of that weapon. And for the final trick in this video, it's going to be sticking with Revelations, and this is going to be a trick to pack a bunch of weapons for free. To do this, you need to number 1, have ephemeral enhancement, and number 2, complete the weapon trading table Easter egg or the chalk Easter egg. If you don't know how to do that, I'll run through it right quick right here. Activate low gravity and Horizon Drac, and while run right here and pick up this pink piece of chalk. Now come right here where the dragon head would be on Horizon Drac and interact with this message to pick it up. Now come to Varrook near the mystery box location here and interact with this message on the ground to swap the messages. Also, I should mention, if you're doing this right, then you will hear chalk drawing sounds when you interact. But continuing with this Easter egg, next go to the spiral stairs on Noct and interact with this message, and then go to the other set of stairs on Noct and place the other message down right here, and at this point there are 2 messages left to fix. So come to Mob and grab this message off the wall, and then go behind the teleporter in Kino, and jump and place the message here. And then finally, return to Mob of the Dead, and place down the final message in the same spot as before, and if done right, you will hear this sound. When completed, there will be an M1927 wall by near the Dragon and Horizon Drac, but also, and more importantly, there will be a trading table in the bottom floor of Nocturne and Toten where you can place your weapon and other people can pick it up. We're going to be using this to pack a bunch for free. So at this point, you want to get the Ephemeral Enhancement Gobblegum and then pop it to pack a bunch of weapon. Once you pop it, wait around 5 or so seconds and then place it on the table. And once you do, wait around another 5 or so seconds until your Ephemeral ticks all the way down. And then at this point, you can pick back up your weapon and it'll be fully pack-a-punched, permanently pack-a-punched, completely for free. On Buried, it's possible to duplicate your points so you can fill up your bank really easily. To do this, you want to draw the Gavel Knuckles and buy them, and get the Time Bomb from the box. Once you have both of these, you want to go to the bank, and at this point, you want to throw down your Time Bomb, and then go behind the bank and melee this tag. Doing so will allow you to put all your points into here in the form of a point drop. So empty all your points in here, and once you have, you want to activate your Time Bomb to go back in time, and if you did it right, then you should have the exact same amount of points that you had when you threw the Time time bomb down, and additionally, the point drop will still be here so you can pick it up to double your points. You can do this as many times as you want to fill up your bank extremely fast. The only downside of this trick is you will need a max ammo every time you duplicate your points, but with that being said, if you use 1,000 points to create a point drop, then you can give some candy to Leroy and he will change his point drop into a random power-up, which could be a max ammo. As I've already stated in this series, the Civil Protector can insta-kill the Margwa if he lands on top of him, but sometimes you want to use the Civil Protector for fun and he'll be in the map when a Margwa spawns in, so what do you do then? Well, lucky for you, I have another really good trick to take out a Margwa. If you have the Keeper Sword, the upgraded one, then you can unleash your sword and go into beast mode to one-shot the Margwa's heads. For some reason, the sword will follow you in beast mode and go after whatever you attack, including a Margwa head. So you can use this trick to kill a Margwa in just one beast mode and 3 melees. If you hold out the Claymore and flop with PhD Flopper, then the explosion from PhD Flopper will glitch out and do double the damage that it normally would have. So for example, in this game, I'm on round 18 and when I flop with just my red gun out, it'll kill some zombies, but a decent amount of them will be crawlers after the explosion. Compared to this clip on the same round where I flop with the Claymores out, and it easily kills the whole horde. I have no clue why this works, but regardless, it does. In BO1 Moon, you can duplicate the hacker in the same way you can with the BO3 staffs. But in case you don't remember how to do that glitch, have 2 players go right in front of the hacker and count down 3, 2, 1, grab. And then once you say grab, have both players interact with the hacker at the same time to hopefully get 2 of them. Unfortunately though, it does not work on BO3. And shout out to JSB441 for the useful information. If you guys have a piece of useful information I should cover in this series that I haven't covered yet, comment it down below and if it's good enough, I'll include it and give you credit. On Ancient Evil, it's possible to get a really easy round 100. To do this, you want to get to the boss fight, and then every single time you knock down Pegasus, or Perseus for that matter, the round will advance. I found the most effective way to do this was to damage Pegasus just a little bit so the third island goes away, and then from here you can knock Pegasus like every 30 seconds. It's insane. I was able to do this entire Easter egg and get to round 100 this way in under 2 hours, just so you understand just how easy this is. Oh, and in case you're wondering why this number's in the top of the screen, that's because I took this clip from one of my other videos, my favorite 40 BO4 zombies tips, so if you want to learn more about BO4, go watch it. Link's on the screen now. On Outbreak and Cold War Zombies, if you get either the Retrieve Challenge or the Transport Challenge, then you can spam crouch when the bar is like 90 to 95% full to actually duplicate the canister. That way you don't have to go all the way back to the other canister and walk it all the way back to the drop-off point. Instead, you can just do this. On 9, there's a really good one window strat that a lot of people, myself included, use for getting dark matter. Near where the KM57 wall buy is, if you don't buy this door right here and you hang out in this room, then all the zombies will pour out of this window. Now I say all the zombies will pour out of this window, but with that being said, occasionally you will get a gladiator to spawn behind you, but that's not very common because with this strat, gladiators, for the most part, will not spawn. On Tagged or Totem, there is also a one window strat you can do, and this one is even easier. This one is located where the OG power switch is on Call of the Dead. When you're inside of this room, literally every single zombie will pour out of this window. And aside from the occasional dog, you can literally turn your brain off to get the easiest round 100 ever. On the Frozen Dawn, it's possible to kill the God King boss before he can even damage you. To do this, you'll need a very specific mod loadout. You'll need to run Frontline with Vicious, Hand-to-Hand, and Determination. This mod loadout will make the Scythe really good against the God King. And as soon as the boss fight starts, walk up to the God King and spam your melee, and you should be able to take him out in around 15 to 20 seconds. On Transit, well, I guess this could go for all the Victus maps, but we're just gonna say Transit. You'll run faster while you're holding out the turbine. And it's not just a little bit of a boost either. You get a very noticeable speed increase when you hold out the turbine. And additionally, while you're running through the foggy parts of the map and denizens are spawning on top of you constantly, then you can melee twice really fast to kill the denizen before he can even get onto your face. And when you melee with the turbine, you melee a lot faster than you do with any other weapon. So not only is this the most effective way to traverse Transit by holding out the turbine, but it's also the most effective way, besides a Galvanknuckles or Bowie knife, to take out the denizens as well. Here's a pretty big misconception on Origins that I'm really sick of people doing. A lot of people think that you have to wait until you have the staff parts to unlock the crystal for the staff, but that's not true. As long as you have the gramophone and that staff's disc, then you can very quickly hop in and out of that staff's tunnel to spawn in that crystal for the rest of the game. And speaking of the staffs, it's actually possible to get 2 staffs on round 1. Now this should be fairly obvious, but this is only possible on BO3 Origins, but regardless, first you want to turn on Gen 1, get an extra 100 points from the Templar zombies, prone in front of Quick Revive for an extra 100 points, and then kill like 4 or 5 zombies on round 1. Doing so will give you enough points for the tank. Now you want to hit the Gobblegum for shopping free, and if you don't get it, then you will have to reset until you do. And once you have that, open your way up to No Man's Land, and then you want to buy the door to the Mound, Gen 5, and the entrance to the church as well. And now at this point, you want to ride the tank to get the lightning parts. And while you're getting the lightning staff parts, run behind the tank so the zombies aren't super sprinting to catch up to you. Once you have all the lightning staff parts, you want to go through the lightning tunnel, grab the crystal, and then go down to the bottom of the excavation site to build the lightning staff. Now that's the first staff we have. Now let's get the second one. The second staff we can build on round 1 is the wind staff. Now this one is all RNG dependent, but it definitely is possible. You just want to wait until all 3 robots come through so you can go in them to get all 3 parts, and once you have them, go get the wind crystal and go down to the excavation site to build the wind staff. I already went over this series how to get an infinite Ragnarok DG4 on BO3, but it's also possible to get an infinite Ragnarok DG5 on BO4. Make sense? This works on every Ether map, but I'm going to show you how to do it on Classified because I don't know if you know this, but Classified has an Easter egg that is literally locked behind achieving round 150. So I'm going to show you how to bypass that. To do this, you need the Ragnaroks, obviously, and you have to have Mule Kick in your tonic or your modifier slot. This will not work if you do not have Mule Kick in your modifier. For your other perks, it doesn't really matter what you run, but I also recommend you run Winter's Wail to make this easier. And finally, for your elixirs, you want to run stuff like Refreshment and Power Keg if you have them. And also, if you have the talisman that lets you start with a level 2 or level 3 specialist, make sure you put that on as well, because the earlier you get the Ragnaroks level 3, the earlier you'll be able to do this. Once you load into the map, you want to turn on Empower and you want to buy your Mule Kick first. It has to be the first perk that you buy in your game. After you get Mule Kick, buy the rest of your perks so the modifier is active, and then go to the mystery box. Now this next part will require some timing, but what you want to do is you want to spin the mystery box, and when you can pick up a weapon, you want to activate your specialist and pick up the weapon at the same time. If you're on controller, then you want to do both of these at the exact same time, but if you're on keyboard or mouse, then you'll want to click your specialist button around a half a second before you interact. If you do it right, then the game should quickly pull out your Ragnaroks and then put them away, and when you cycle your weapons, there should be no gun on the screen that has the Mule Kick symbol in the bottom right. If you see the Mule Kick symbol, then you did this wrong and you'll have to do it again. But if the symbol isn't there, then you did step 1. For this next step, you'll need to get the trap. So right now I'm showing you all 3 locations for just one of the traps, and then also before you do this next part, you will need to get your Ragnaroks level 3 as well. Once you have the trap box, go to the top floor and place it in this trap. At this point, you want to get down to the last zombie in the round, and I will say you want to be very quick on this next step, because if you mess up this part, then you'll have to restart this entire glitch over again. As soon as you freeze the zombie, you want to run to the other side of the trap and then place down your Ragnaroks and very quickly activate the electric trap and down yourself in it. I said to place the Ragnaroks away from the trap because if you don't know, the Ragnaroks can revive you, and we don't want that. That'll mess up the glitch. But once you get back up, the way you know you did this right is if the Ragnaroks are still on the ground, but they are no longer on your HUD. If both of these things are in your game, then you did this step right. So now you can move on to the next step. Now at this point, for the rest of the glitch, you do not want to go down again. If you do, then it will mess up this glitch and you will have to restart it in another game. So at this point, go ahead and buy your Mule Kick back and whatever other perk you lost, and then the Ragnaroks should come back on the HUD. If they did, then you hit this glitch, and there is just one more thing left to do, and that is to get in a glitch spot. The one I find the easiest to get into is the one right here in front of the morgue. You want to pull out your Ragnaroks and jump and slam and spam crouch, and if you did it right, then you should be on this elevated barrier, and the zombies should not be able to hit you. Also, I should mention, if you're on keyboard or mouse and you can't get this to work, then go check your keybind setting and make sure that your crouch button is actually set to crouch and not change stance. This will not work if your keybind is set to change stance. You can change it back after, just change it for this glitch. But once you're in the elevated glitch spot, the actual last thing to do is to get a full power drop, because the zombies will not be charging your specialist. The only way to get it back is with a full power drop. You want to get a full power and then very quickly pull out your Ragnaroks, put them away, and then pull back out the Ragnaroks again. And if you did this step right, then they are now infinite DG5s that will kill every single zombie below you to carry you to round 150. When the Civil Protector revives you on solo, then you will actually keep your quick revive. So if the Civil Protector's on the map when you're down, then he can actually save you an extra purchase of quick revive so the machine stays in the map for longer. On Origins, it's possible to get an elemental knife that'll one-shot until the 60s. To do this, it's kind of annoying, but the end result is definitely worth it. First off, you can only do this in a co-op game, so that's unfortunate, but once you're in a co-op game, you want to get to the final step of the Easter egg. You want to go through the entire Easter egg until you get your upgraded fist from the bottom of the excavation site. Once you have it, get your favorite staff and go in a robot and down yourself. Once you bleed out, have your friend end the round, and when you respawn, you will now have the elemental knife. Now this works on BO3 as well as BO2, but with that being said, it's a lot cooler on BO2 because on BO3, not only is the knifing a little wonky in the higher rounds and it won't always be a one-shot kill, but also you won't have a really cool staff effect on your screen when you melee the zombies. But with that being said, this does work on both versions. On the random code step on Attack's Easter egg, a lot of people think that it's just that, random. But actually, it's not. If you go inside of Elvira's room, then you'll see a bunch of film reels on a shelf here. If you look very closely at these specific reels, then these 5 reels will actually tell you your code. So the reel on the far left is your first number, then the second reel next to it is your second number, and then if you look on the ground here, there will be a reel on the ground. This reel has your third number on it, and then go back up to the shelf, and this reel has your fourth number, and finally, the reel on the far right has your fifth and final number. Now, as dumb and as out of the way as this is, at least now, y'all have a way to get this code right without having to brute force it. And I have a lot more really good tips for this map too, just like that, including tips to figure out your color really fast, and a surefire way to do the chemical step really easy every single time. So if you guys would like to see me make an updated 2025 Attack of the Radioactive Thing Easter egg, let me know down below in the comments, and I will actually do it if enough people ask. Maybe one of you guys can comment, Joltz Attack Easter egg guide like button, and a bunch of people will upvote. I don't know. Y'all do what you want. On Die Rise, it's actually possible to launch yourself across the map with the Ray Gun Mark II. Now, I would not recommend you do this in a real game because this is pretty hard to hit unless you know what you're doing and you know exactly where to aim, which is right here, by the way. But technically it is possible and it is useful to do, whether you need to get across the map and you don't have a trample steam or you're just about to die. This is definitely worth knowing about just in case. On every single Zombies Chronicles map on BO3, it's possible to spawn in a free max ammo whenever you want. I'm going to show you how to do all 8 of these, starting with Nocturne and Toten. So to start this, there are 4 buttons around the map that you have to interact with. It doesn't have to be in any order, just hit these 4 buttons and you should hear an audio cue. The first one is next to Mule Kick. The second is at the top of the spiral stairs here, you'll have to jump and interact to hit it. The third is near the cabinet on the top floor. And the final one is under this shelf near the box. Once you hit all 4, you'll hear an audio cue. And near the RK5 wall by will be a Samantha figurine. Interact with it and now you have to shoot 5 Samantha dolls around the map within about 2 minutes to get the max ammo. Her spawn locations are random, but right now I'm showing you all the locations she can spawn in. The first one is out this window next to Mule Kick. The second is on the tip of this tank. The third one is in this puddle outside the map. The fourth one is up the spiral stairs through this window on the ground. The fifth one is definitely the hardest one to see. You can see it through this crack on the top floor. The sixth one is right here on top of this truck. The seventh one is next to the Wonder Fizz above the map. And the 8th and final location is on top of this pole near the cabinet. Once you shoot all 5, return to the RK5 wall by, and the Samantha doll will be ready for you. Now at this point, whenever you want to, interact with the Samantha doll to spawn into max ammo. You can literally leave it sit here for as long as you want, and it'll stay here for the rest of the game. Now moving on to Rook, for step 1, there are 3 toilets you have to flush near the STG. From right to left, you want to flush the first toilet 9 times. The middle toilet 3 times, and then the left toilet 5 times. Once you do, come near Wonder Fizz right here and interact with the Samantha doll to start the final step. Now just like Nocturne and Toten, you have to shoot 5 Samantha dolls around the map, and also just like Noct, these are random and they can spawn at any location at any time. The first location's in this far right toilet, the next one is in the power room down the stairs right here outside of this zombie spawn, the next one is in the corner of this kitchen in this pot, the next one is past speed cooler outside of this window right here, the next location is in the room next to this one, and you can find the doll in this hole in the ceiling. The next location is on top of the fountain in the middle of the map, the next location location it can spawn is outside of this zombie spawn, but if this zombie spawn isn't torn down, then you can actually see it through this very tiny hole right here. The next location is inside this cooler. The second and last location is on top of the dentist chair near Jug, and finally, the last location it could spawn is on top of this mannequin near the KRM walleye. Once you've shot all 5 dolls, return to the Wonder Fizz machine, and whenever you want to, interact with this doll to get your max ammo. Moving on to Shinonuma, this one's actually a little different, and it's actually really easy, probably the easiest one out of all of these. So first, come to the fishing hut, and inside of this room there are 4 pans you want to shoot in this exact order. You want to shoot these 4 pans in the exact order I am right now, and once you do, you should hear the aforementioned audio cue. Now inside this room in the fishing hut, there will be a Samantha doll on the ground here. Interact with it, and now outside of the fishing hut, there will be a Samantha doll on one of these fence posts. You want to shoot the Samantha doll, and it'll teleport to another fence post. You want to do this 5 times, and then once you do, you can return to the fishing hut and interact with the doll to get the max ammo. Moving on to Kino, we're finally getting some different stuff here. You want to come up to this blue door in the alley, and you want to interact and knife it until you hear it knock. It'll knock 1 through 9 times, and then pause for a second or two, and then knock a second number of times, and then pause, and then it'll knock a third set of times. This is actually a code that you'll have to repeat to him, so make sure you keep note of how many times he knocks. And then once he stops knocking, you want to repeat the code to him. You want to knife the blue door however many times he knocked for the first number, and then pause for a second or two, and then knife again for the second number, pause for a second or two, and then knife again for the third number. If you did it wrong, then he will knock really aggressively 6 or 7 times, and you'll have to do this again on the next round. But if you did it right, then he'll repeat another code to you, and you'll have to do this again. On the screen right now is a list of the most common codes you could get. You have to do this 3 times with him to do this step. And once you do, again, you'll hear the aforementioned sound cue. And now in the staging Kino, come right here and interact with this Samantha doll to start the final step. Now at this point, there are 5 Samantha dolls around the map that you'll have to shoot to complete this step. The first one's on the chair right here. The second is on the tip of the chandelier. The third is on the right side of the seats near Jug. The fourth one is actually right next to Jug outside of the map here. The fifth one is on the ledge of the Pack-a-Punch room. The next location is near the teleporter right here. The next location is right here where an egg would spawn on Revelations. The next location is behind the stage right here on the top of this prop. The next location is in the left corner of the stage, and you can shoot it right here, and the final location is through spawning near the Pharaoh walleye or the PM63 walleye, and it's right here on top of this sconce. Once you shoot 5 Samantha dolls, return to the doll you interacted with to get the max ammo. Now, moving on to Ascensions, this one is probably the coolest one out of any of these. First, you need to get the Gersh device, and then around the map, there are 3 Samantha dolls that you'll have to suck up with the Gershes. The first one is actually inside the Pack-a-Punch room, so you'll have to unlock Pap to do this, but once you do, it's under the map on the left side of the Pack-a-Punch room. If you aim exactly where I do, then you should be able to hit it, so the Gersh device doesn't hit a death barrier, and it actually does suck up the Samantha doll. So once you hit this one, there are 2 more to hit, and the second one is outside of Widow's Wine. You can find it right here where I'm aiming on the corner of this building. You want to throw a Gersh device up here exactly how I am, and you should be able to suck it up. I will say that this one was definitely the most tricky for me to hit, but maybe y'all will have a different experience. Regardless though, the third and final doll you have to suck up with the Gershes is near Stamina Up, and it's right here on top of this building. Once you suck up all 3, return near Pack-a-Punch, and inside this really red part of the map, there will be a Samantha doll. Interact with it to start the final step, and thankfully, the Samantha doll locations that you have to shoot are not random in this quest. Take the exact path I do, and you'll come across all of them. The first one is right here on top of this rubble. The second one is near where the Wonder Fizz spawns. The third one is next to Stamina Up, and it's hanging upside down at the bottom of this beam. And then the fourth and fifth one are near the landing pad near Stamina Up. The fourth one will spawn on the ground right here, and then the fifth one will spawn on top of it. Once you shoot all 5, return to the really red part of the map near Pack-a-Punch and interact with it to complete the Easter egg. For the Shangri-La one, this one isn't hard, but with that being said, you have to keep the 1911 to do the second step. After it, you can get rid of it, but make sure you hold on to the 1911 until you do the second step. To do the first step, you need to find the 4 authentic gongs around the map for the Easter egg. If you don't know how to do that, right now I'm going to show you all 8 locations really fast. First one's in spawn right here, then going the left way out of spawn, the second one is right here. The third and fourth one are actually down this way, near the random perk that spawns here. Here's the third one, and then the fourth one is right here next to it. And then you want to go back through spawn and go the right way out of spawn, and the fifth one will be right here in front of the mud room. And then you want to go through the mud room, and the 6th and 7th ones are right next to the random perk. And then finally, go across the bridge to find the 8th and final gong. You want to melee these gongs and listen for a sound. This is what a real gong sounds like, and this is what a fake gong sounds like. You want to figure out which 4 gongs made the real gong sound, and you want to melee all 4 of those ones without meleeing a fake one. And once you do, taking the left way out of spawn, you want to go underground, and inside of this room, you want to shoot these pots on the wall with your 1911. It has to be with your 1911. No other gun will work. You want to shoot the far left pot 2 times, and then the far right pot 1 time. And if you did this right, then you should hear the Chronicles cue. Now at this point, going the left way out of spawn, there will be a Samantha doll right here near the minecart. Interact with it, and now you have to shoot 5 Samantha dolls around the map. The first one you can hit right here looking through the minecart. You can actually shoot it right here. For the second and third one, you want to go in the power room, and the second one will spawn under this lantern. And then on the far right of this room, the third one will spawn right here in this dark area. Then the fourth one will spawn right here for the exit of the minecart. And the fifth and final one will spawn on top of the Don't Hold X rock. Once you shoot all 5, return to the doll and interact with it to get your max ammo. Moving on to Moon, this one is definitely the easiest one to do. Near the power switch, there are 4 computers. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to label them number 1, number 2, number 3, and then number 4. Make sure you remember which computer is which, because to do this Easter egg, you have to interact with these terminals in the order of 2, 4, 4, 1, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, I might have been joking when I said this was the easiest one. Once you do though, you'll hear the Chronicle sound, and near the MPD will be the Samantha doll. Interact with it, and in front of where you place the throw device will be a bunch of Samantha dolls. You want to shoot them in order from left to right, and once you do, return to the doll to get your max ammo. And finally, for the one on Origins, first you need to build all 4 staffs, and then once you have all 4 staffs built, you want to get a zombie blood, and at the bottom of the excavation site, around the machine that you have to rotate to shoot your ball, there will be 4 orbs on the outside of it. You want to shoot all 4 of these orbs with the corresponding staff color. So obviously you want to shoot the blue one with the ice staff, the purple one with the lightning staff, the red one with the fire staff, and the yellow one with the wind staff. Once you shoot all 4, you want to go to the crazy place, and on the center crystal facing the fire tunnel will be a Samantha doll. Interact with it, and a bunch of Samantha dolls will spawn on this platform, and once you shoot all of them, a Samantha doll will race to the sky, and then you will get your max ammo. And there was your useful COD Zombies information. Thanks for watching. I have other cool content on my channel like useless zombies information, going over my favorite thing on every map, and me ranking every single map in Zombies history. So go check out one of those videos. Shout out to my members, thank you all so much for supporting me. And quick shout out to Dogzilla36 and Grandmaster Ricky for becoming members. If you want to become a member and get access to members only videos, custom badges, and more perks, click the join button down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.